welcome to tonight's episode of Drachmae and Demigods, the Links of Tartarus campaign Season 2. My name is Sammy Ferber, and I'll be your host for the evening. Welcome back to the Links of Tartarus. If you're new here, welcome. You can watch all of Season 2 and Season 1, all of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel. That's linked down below. This episode will be up on YouTube on Saturday, so if you have to leave early, or if you come in late, or anything like that, you can always make sure that you watch the entire episode and catch up for next week. We are nearing the end of our adventure together here with the Hands of Fate. This is going to be the last major arc that they participate in, this Olympic Games. It's been a long journey, multi-year journey, but we're very excited to end on this fun little adventure. So, without further ado, let's jump into the story here. So, previously on the Links of Tartarus, the Hands of Fate arrived in Philoi several days before the start of the Olympic Games. Ahead of them, 3 weeks of athletic competition, politics, and gambling. But they can't just sit back and enjoy the games. No, they're here on a mission from the gods. In order to enact the party's idea to remove the gods from physically coming to Gaia, they need to get a series of signatures on a magic contract. And they've successfully collected a few already. Lathos, son of Hades, has signed as a representative for his father. Son Minkaro of Delphi has signed as a representative of Apollo. Emperor Gilro of Xander agreed to sign for his city, although his readiness to do so did raise some eyebrows with the party. Friend of the party, Arcanist Alar Xena Vodel, has signed representing the elves. Paloma the War Dove, once a rival but now an ally to Alexios and the party at large, has signed for the gnomes. Conjurer Kithri of Delphi has signed for the halflings. And the Kultar of Dracora, Romathemius Thickskin, has signed for Dragonkin, after getting approval from the Cult of Tiamat members that actually control him and Dracora. But there are still some signatures the party has not yet earned. They need a signature from King Menelaus of Sparta, but he has only agreed to sign if someone beats his son, Prince Ilion, in the games. They asked Lady Oliea of Giantsbane to sign on behalf of the dwarves, but she said she'd only sign if they had a structure in place to maintain order once the gods distanced themselves. They also asked the Queen of Voltura and her aide, Peron Kingzai, for her signature, but were told that they'd only sign if Neriana won a laurel for them and agreed to run Fort Valor in Ares' absence. There are also a bunch of other signatures they still need, with varying degrees of difficulty to get them. But there are other forces at play here in Philoi as well. The party has uncovered some sort of marriage alliance between Xander and Sparta, involving Prince Ilion and the Emperor's daughter, Eris Eviana, that's been described mysteriously as a double kill switch. That could spell trouble for an Athenian alliance, now in the hands of an inexperienced 17-year-old, instead of a battle-tested champion of the gods. But the plot thickens further as Ilme discovered that Eris Eviana is in a secret affair with Ophelia with Head of Flame, the top Athenian athlete at the games. And there's undoubtedly even more happening behind the scenes here in Philoi, but the game is about to change, because the games are about to begin. Wordplay. So, you can all take a long rest. Any daily divination, wheel and woe, prepared spells, all of that, feel free to do. You are waking up on the first official day of the Olympic Games. You know, ahead of you today, yes, Anura? You are muted, Anura. Anura, you're muted. Well, we could hear you before, and now we can't. Why don't you leave and come back, Anura? So, as that's happening...
Divination.
What was that?
Would you like to know my divination?
Yes, please.
I rolled a nat 1 and a 14.
Okay, hey,
So
a nat 1 can be very useful.
I wanted to.
We can hear you, but stream cannot yet. Give me 1 second, and soon they will be able to. One second. All right, now everyone should be able to hear everyone. What would you like to say, Anna?
What I was asking was, were you talking about preparing spells? Were any of the trials that we need specific spells for happening today or not? Just so I know what to prepare.
Great question. You would know that the Arcana competition is not until the third to last day of the entire 3 weeks. Speaking of, you would know that on day 1, what you can expect are the beginning of the trials for both the equestrian and the long-distance events. You would also know from talking to the various coaches that on day 1, there are 4 equestrian trials scheduled and 2 long-distance scheduled. Of those 6 total events, only 1 involves one of your extended party members. That being Mr. Eric's has his equestrian trial on day number 1. So, the way this works, everyone who is here is welcome to go to the arena to watch all of the events, though you're obviously not required to. To enter the arena, it costs you a single silver, and that'll get you in for the entire day. But each day you will need to pay another silver. The betting house, the wager house, is open at all times. If anyone would like to make any bets about these first few trials or the first few events or anything like that. Otherwise, you can attend the show and see how it all unravels. What would you guys like to do?
If we're participating, do we have to pay a silver?
If you're participating, not on that day, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I bet against somebody, like not winning? That's the thing, right?
Sure. I mean, essentially, you'd have to choose someone to bet for.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll bet for Nora.
Honora is
for
equestrian.
Not winning.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wait, are we voting that they move on or who wins?
Both types of bets are available to you. You can vote for, like, hey, for this trial, I think the Spartan athlete is gonna win this trial, or you can say, I think for all of equestrian, I think this athlete's gonna win the entire event.
Is all of the equestrian events today? Like, will it be finished, or
no? It'll be
more rounds?
So just give you a little bit of perspective. There are 4 equestrian trials today, 4 more tomorrow. That's all of like the first round, and then day 3 and 4 are the quarterfinals. Day 5 is the semifinals, and then there's a break for day 6, and then day 7 is the finals.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll put 10 gold down for Honora continuing on.
Okay. Sorry, let me just because Honora is representing Sylvan, right?
Yes.
Sylvan has some pretty good odds, so you will get 2.5 back. So how much were you betting? 10 gold?
Well, I'm gonna up it. Let's do 100 gold.
Okay. Ilme
I
bets
feel very pressured.
100 gold pieces on Honora winning the equestrian.
You did hear my practice roll earlier, right? Oh, it'll be fine.
If you win this bet, you will get 250 gold.
Cool. And can I bet that Eric's, and he's for Nepio, right?
Yes, Eric's is representing Nepio.
Can I say Nepio gets dead last?
Oh, wait.
Is that a bet? Or is that not a thing that happens?
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
So, which ones are competing in the equestrian, right?
Equestrian and long distance start today.
I got a 17.
17. So here's the thing. You are welcome to make that bet, and the reason that they seem so willing to let you do that is because Nepiot is ranked dead last in the rankings of the cities. So betting that they get dead last in an event will net you like an extra gold piece. Like it's not a very profitable bet.
Okay, then never mind. I won't do that.
Who's racing or who's doing equestrian today?
Great question. So the first event has the top-seeded Spartan, as well as Hipponius of Thebes, who you know is the pentathlete for Thebes. There's also someone from Giantsbane, a low-ranked Zandarian, someone from Corinth, and a low-ranked Delphian. That is the first round, is those 6. Sparta, Thebes, Giantsbane, Xander, Corinth, and Delphi.
Are those the only happening today, or are there multiple rounds?
So there are multiple. So we're only on the trial round right now. So this is all round 1. But of those 6, 3 will move on to the next round. But then there's also, so that's the very first match of the day, is those 6.
Oh! Okay,
Yeah.
click.
The second match of the day is Palmus, Agamemnia, Hearthstone, Ice Point, Dracora, and a low-ranked Spartan. That's the second match of the day. Third match of the day is a high-ranked Athenian, Spear Point, Isidora of Ithaca, who is Ithaca's pentathlete. You also have Vultura, Midas, and Sylvan in that heat, if you will. And then the final equestrian of the day is someone from the Hephaestus Islands, from Arcadia, Eryx, representing Nepiot, Olympia, the Isles of Ilium, and a low-ranked Athenian. Those are the 4 equestrian events, the 4 heats today.
Are all of the long-distance heats today?
No, just the first 2 matches for long distance. In those first 2, there's the big name in that one is in the very first heat in long distance. Prince Ilion is competing.
Okay.
Ilme, are you running long distance?
No, I don't have the stamina for it.
Okay.
Am I running long distance?
Creasa's running long distance.
For
Lathos are-
party members, we have, well, Shaxelius, I don't know if it really counts. Lathos is doing long distance, Creasa is doing long distance, Iasis doing long distance, and Althea, friend of the party, Althea.
Isis and Creasa do the same events, basically.
Okay, now how does cheating in betting work if I can see the future?
I mean,
Possible futures. Which is the most likely outcome?
here's what I'll say: you're more than able to ask and to roll and to see what you can gather.
Can I bet that Eryx moves on today?
Absolutely, yeah, that would be a good bet because he's ranked so low. How much would you like to bet?
50 gold.
50 gold on Eryx moving on. Now, you're not going to get the full odds because moving on, there's a 50-50 chance of him doing that, essentially. But it's still good odds. So, 50 gold on Eryx moving on to the quarterfinals. That will net you... it'll double, so 100 gold. 100 gold if you succeed. Anything
So
else?
you say that they win. There's a higher multiplier.
Yeah, because essentially it's a more specific bet.
Yeah.
So the chances of that happening are smaller. So the odds are better.
Who's the highest ranked in the first race?
For equestrian, the highest
Yeah.
ranked person is the Spartan in the first heat. And then also
I
the
bet
Athenian in
against
the third heat. You're going to bet against the Spartan?
I'm gonna bet against.
Okay. Are you betting against him coming in
Why?
first or moving on at all?
Bet against them coming in first.
Okay. So, because
Are
it's
they
less
picking
specific,
winners?
it will be slightly less reward. But how much are you willing to bet?
I'll just do like 10 gold. Ryujin probably just saw like, he went with you guys to like the betting tent, and he's like,
Okay. So,
Among
if he does
players,
not come in first, you will gain 15 gold. And you can all
Among the players, I feel like we should-
remove the gold amount that you have bet, please.
Are they only taking
would
bets
take
for long distance and equestrian?
Those are the specific bets that are happening right now, but at all times you can bet for the winner of an event. Only when that event is drawing near do they then start getting into the specifics of like, I think this person will win this trial. But if you want to say like, I think this person's going to win the javelin next week, you're absolutely okay to do that.
Like they go all the way, you can do those bets anytime.
Yeah. Or if you think this person's going to win the pentathlon.
I want to bet that Nerion is going to win the pentathlon.
Okay.
Oh, Neriana.
So,
Yes.
That's true.
Voltura is
He's
high.
a winner. It doesn't matter.
Voltura is high ranked. So it's going to be like 1.5. So how much are you willing to bet on Neriana?
Like 5.
Yeah, so essentially whatever you put in, you'll receive 1.5 times that back.
Or
Puts in like 1,000 gold.
How much?
4,000.
4,000 gold.
That's 6,000 gold in returns if you win.
Exactly.
I would be so mad if for some fucking reason I start doing good with Athlon and all of a sudden I have to fucking throw. I would be so mad.
Nah.
All right. I will also say, if this, helps or hurts or whatever, as you're removing the gold for these bets from your inventory, they also, if you aren't liquid right now, they also accept art pieces or other sort of valuables, gemstones, all that kind of stuff. They have an appraiser who will decide how much that's worth in terms of betting, in case that's where your wealth lies right now. Any other bets?
But I'm not Phoebe.
Sure, what would you like to ask Phoebe?
What do you think? Interesting bets. Most money won. What should I be looking towards?
Make a persuasion check.
I'll get you a fresh polish.
Get you a fresh polish. Oh my god.
You're rigged. Oh my god, what is my persuasion? +0? What am I, the least charismatic person in the world? Well, not the but
I have +0 too. I don't know.
Straight roll, I guess. It's a 15.
15. Okay.
I'll add to it. I'll give him a plus to that.
Sure, go ahead.
Add 4.
19.
Okay.
I just want to see what she tells you.
You hear her voice in your head. I cannot say for sure, as the future is clouded. But if I were to gamble on a particular outcome, I think that the athlete from Palmas in the second heat will go all the way to the finals. But I cannot tell if they will win or not.
And going forward, and later on, I can choose to bet if he wins.
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah, 'cause you make bets, right?
I can
Okay.
bet that he'll move forward, because that's a pretty decent chance.
Yeah.
And then later, I can bet that he'll win it altogether. Yeah, no, sure, why not?
Yeah,
I'll do that.
absolutely. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So in the second heat, the athlete from Palmas is the top ranked person in that heat. So they are the favorite to win that heat. So the bet to say that they'll move on is probably not going to be a super lucrative one, but you're absolutely able to make that bet.
Where does Honora rank in their heat?
I just want to bet to bet. I'll give him some-
Anura, you are dead in the center of the heat. And you're actually helped out because
I was like, How many points I was last? Because I've never competed before.
You're helped because your heat is actually down to 5 people because there is a spot open for a Nepe Ocean who doesn't exist. So, Adagio, how much are you betting and what are you betting?
What do you think? How much do you think we should be betting?
That is entirely up to you.
Honora, quick, how much money should I put in?
How much money do you have? Because I thought you were like me. I thought you were very broke.
I don't know. Just tell me a number and I'll tell you if that's purple.
25.
Sure. 25 gold.
Be safe.
25 gold, and what exactly are you betting?
Right now, I'll just bet that he'll move on. And then, because I plan on just like sleeping on it and just seeing if I could like force visions of like him winning, like how likely it is that he'll win, just to also prove like attempt my own prophecy.
Absolutely. So if you put
if I
in
a good estimation, I'll be like bet.
You put in 25 gold for this bet, you will only receive 30 back should you win.
That's okay. It's just 25 gold. I just wanted to bet.
Absolutely. All right. So, without
I feel
further
like
ado,
amongst the players, we should make a bet. Amongst
sure.
us.
Yeah, if you just want to have some fun, absolutely make a bet.
I feel like we should make a bet. Can we bet shots or taking a drink if a character does well?
That'd be funny.
I feel like it'd be funny.
I accept those terms. We're cracked up in a cold one.
You accept those terms? Okay, what are we betting then? Oh god.
Terms.
Do you want? How about this? So there's in the first heat, there's not like anyone of super high importance to the party. So if you just want to bet on a city in the first heat, you can each take a different city, and we'll see who wins.
What cities we got?
So
Nepeos.
Nepeos not in there. We got Sparta. We got Thebes, Giant's Bane, Xander, Corinth, and Delphi.
I got Delphi.
I call thieves.
I call Sparta. Don't even fight me.
That leaves Ilmain and
What's-
Anura.
Oh, no, Corin.
Corinth and Anura.
Xander.
Xander. All right. So Giant's Bane, the odd man out, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So.
Well, that's your Sammy, right?
Yeah, Giants Bane
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That'll
You
be
gotta
mine.
join in, Sammy.
All right. Giant's Bane will be mine. Okay. So, if you'll all please remove a silver from your inventory
Oh yeah.
as you enter the Olympic Stadium for the first time.
Maybe I wanna do some sleuth.
Sure. I mean, if you don't want to attend, feel free to not attend.
I mean, I'll pay it just in case I want to attend. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what sleuthing. Maybe I'll ask Phoebe the same thing. I'll be like, Phoebe, where is the most interesting place to be today?
Interesting is quite a strong word, but everyone important will be watching the games.
How close to the important people can I theoretically get?
I do not deal in theoreticals.
Phoebe. Phoebe, please. You also don't deal in absolutes because everything is always changing.
That's true.
Only a
There's a healthy little middle ground there.
Absolute.
So, the very first event of the day, the very first equestrian heat, the very first event of this Olympic Games. Starting out, because equestrian is an individual timed event, each athlete will go up on their own to complete the event. As a reminder of what the equestrian event is, it is 3 phases. There is 4 fences, progressively higher, that they must jump with their horse. There are 4 dressage skills that they need to showcase, more performative skills. And then finally there is a weight pull that they must attach to their horse and successfully pull a certain distance away. These 3 things can be completed in any order, but they must all be completed, and they are timed based on how long it takes. And whoever takes the shortest amount of time wins the heat. So, the first person up is the Spartan.
Oh my god, what did we say about divination?
I mean, it will
Don't you
it
dare.
will make a visible divination magic pulse. And you
From
see,
the
I mean,
stand.
so just to give you a little perspective, this arena is huge, and you are on one of the stands here, surrounded by other people. On the actual field down below, you see the equestrian stuff is set up. The Olympic horse is being led on by a few Olympic employees, and there is an owler here on the field that is just sort of keeping an eye on the competition and on the crowd, and just making sure that everything is going according to plan. The Spartan is wearing this beautiful armor, very ornamental, the beautiful red plume on it. You see, he seems to be a crowd favorite, sort of like pumping up the crowd. Almost feels like he may have some gladiatorial experience. He's just sort of like living for the crowd here. And then he begins. He starts with the weight pull and gets it done fairly quickly. He struggles a bit with the dressage portion, but then is able to make up some time in the fence jump, and overall ends with a respectable time, though nothing groundbreaking. Then Hipponius of Thebes comes up. Far less sort of performative, but seems to be much more focused. Hipponius astonishes with an amazing score of getting all of this done in just 60 seconds. To give you some perspective, an average score in the equestrian event is about 100 seconds. So about a minute, minute and a half. 60 seconds, extremely, extremely good.
I beat him in my practice. It's fine.
Giant Spain really struggles. So what you know about the equestrian event is that the horses that they use for these events are not necessarily horses that they've trained with before. Some are, some aren't. This dwarf who gets on his horse seems to not agree with his horse. There are multiple times on the fence jump where this horse is just refusing to jump, and the dwarf is pleading to make sure that he doesn't jump. Really, really horrible showing. By the time he finishes, it took 234 seconds to complete the course. An abysmal score, not even by Olympic standards, but like by doing it in your backyard standards. Xander and Corinth are much better. They don't come close to the 60-second mark that Thebes has already set, but they do pretty well. And as it stands, as the final Delphian athlete comes up to the field, the current ranking is Thebes in first, Delphi in second, Corinth in third, and unfortunately, Sparta and Giant Spain are already eliminated from the competition. That brings us to Delphi. Now, this is not Delphi's premier equestrian rider. This is their second tier Delphian. And she gives a second tier performance. It's not bad. It's not great. It places her in a solid fourth place, but it's not enough to let her move on to the next form of the competition. So Thebes, Xander, and Corinth move on, with Thebes coming in first. Trial B.
Gotta make her bet now. Who is it?
Yeah, so in Trial B, there's Palmus, Agamemnia, Hearthstone, Ice Point, Drachora, and Sparta.
I'll go Drachora. Actually, no, wait.
Palmas, you already bet on him once.
I think it's Palmus.
Palmus is the
guy
one
you
that you're
bet
betting on.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet on that dude.
I'll go Drachora.
Hearthstone.
Drachora, Hearthstone.
The long one.
The long one?
Whatever. The
Agamemnia?
yeah.
Him. I like his name. I felt
That
that.
leaves
Is this the part where...
Ice
Oh.
Point and Sparta to you, Ryujin.
I'll just do Sparta again.
Sure, yeah. If it ain't broke, well, it is broke. But the second trial is astonishing. The very first controversy of this games. As the 6 competitors compete, and they do fairly well. The Spartan in this one, although lower ranked than the Spartan in the first one, does much better than the Spartan in the first one. The highest, or the lowest speeds, so the first place athlete, is a complete tie between 2 athletes, Palmus and Drachmae. So that causes a bit of controversy, not a ton, but a bit of who gets the victor's boon. The victor's boon is something that you get only if you come in first in your trial that will help you in the next sequence of the competition. The owler in charge considers some evidence for a moment before ruling that they will both receive the victor's boon, as is only fair, which means that moving on from this round, in first place, Palmus and Drachmae, in third place and moving on, Sparta, and unfortunately eliminated from the competition, Ice Point, Hearthstone, and Agamemnon. That means that on day 3, so 2 days from now, the first quarterfinal will be, in order, Thebes, Drachmae, Palmus, Xander, Sparta, and Corinth. But before we get to that, we come to the next trial heat. First is Isidora of Ithaca. There's also Athens, Spearpoint, Vultura, Midas, and Sullivan. Who is rooting for what?
I have to bet on myself, don't I?
Of course you have to bet for Sullivan, absolutely.
Midas.
Midas, sure, hometown.
That's interesting.
I already forgot. I was going to say Midas, and now I don't know who else.
There's Athens, Spearpoint, Ithaca, and Vultura.
Ithaca sounds pretty.
Sure.
Odysseus is the reigning king.
Probably Spearpoint.
I was.
Spearpoint.
What else is there?
Athens, and Vultura.
Athens it is.
All right.
How could you not?
Cool. So, an extremely impressive showing from Isidora of Ithaca, the pentathlete.
Whoa.
She comes in an easy first place in this trial at 72 seconds. Still does not beat the 60 seconds of Thebes in the first trial, but easily comes in at 72 seconds, far ahead of her competition. In second and third place, Midas at 90 seconds and Athens at 102 seconds. Very respectable scores from both of them. Unfortunately, the Vulturan athlete struggled with his horse, could not get it to behave during the weight pull, which was his first event, and unfortunately that sank his entire run. He did very well in the other 2 events, because he spent so much time on the weight pull, he ended up in 6th place, all the way at the bottom. So, moving on, Isidora from Ithaca, Midas, and Athens. Moving on to the next round, which means we have come to Eric's round.
I need to compete?
Yeah, Eric's needs to compete. This is his.
Wait, no, you said
I'm
Sullivan,
for
though,
Sullivan.
in the last one.
Wait, what?
I'm
Oh,
for Sullivan.
Yes, Sullivan came in 4th. Sorry, it's a different Sullivan. You're in a different. There are multiple equestrian people from each
Different heat.
city.
Oh, okay. So
You're-
I did
you're in a
lose
heat.
this last.
Yeah, no, you're in a heat tomorrow. You're not competing today.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
so confused.
No. This Sullivan person was someone who came to compete for Sullivan.
There's a shot for Sullivan. Ugh.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to Eric's round. So,
No.
because Eric's is a late addition, he is going last in this round, which means that everyone else in his heat gets to go before him. to determine how what speed Eric's would need to do this in order to move on. So, doesn't start off great for him, because very first up is an Athenian equestrian who sets a new Olympic record with an astonishing 48-second run. Less than a minute. Significantly less than a minute. So, pretty unfortunate for everyone else. However, besides that Athenian, it's an overall even playing field. However, due to their speeds, Olympia and the Hephaestus Islands have already been eliminated, which means that Eryx needs to compete against Arcadia and the Isles of Ilium for one of the remaining spots on this team. So, to put it into specifics, we're about to get into the Eryx competition here. Eryx needs to total less than 120 seconds to place and move on. So, are you ready?
I guess.
Come on, be paid.
I will say that the coach would tell Eryx ahead of time the advice that you should start with what you anticipate being your worst part of the event, and that besides the weight pull, you can always choose to skip part of the event and take a time penalty. And that the biggest thing that people get stuck in that you should avoid is if you are struggling with a skill, or if you're struggling with a fence and you keep trying over and over again and you keep failing, don't be afraid to take that time penalty and move on. So often people will spend way too much time trying to get it, and they'll just sink their scores even more. So, Eryx, of the weight pull, dressage, and fence jump, what are you starting with?
Okay, real quick. So I'm looking at the short version, the Olympics version for Eryx, and it's not listed anything for intelligence or like a dexterity. It's just going to be what his plus then that he has.
That's
right?
Yes, and that is what the skill is anyway. It's not based on your saving throw, so yeah, it's just dexterity or intelligence, whichever one is higher. Use that modifier.
Okay, got you. Okay, so he'll start with the weight.
Okay.
Cool.
Go ahead and make your first attempt.
Oh no. 7.
That is a failure. Go ahead and try again.
Okay, that is a 15.
15 just fails. Try again.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
You need one higher.
Nope, that's not gonna work. Fail.
Fail. Try again.
Oh my gosh, another fail.
Try again.
There we go. He got a 21.
21. Okay, and you succeeded exceptionally well, and you actually take some time off of your score with that. All right. What are you doing next? I assume fence jump.
Yes.
Go ahead with your first fence. So it's an animal handling check.
Yes, 13.
13. That is a success. Moving on to the second fence.
Ooh, no, 8.
8. That is a failure. Do you want to try again?
He's gonna move on.
Moving on. Okay, third fence.
14.
14. Unfortunately, is a failure. Do you want to try again?
Make it harder the farther you get.
Yes, it does get harder.
No. He's gonna just...
Okay, moving on. Final fence.
16.
16 is a failure. Do you want to try again?
I'll try it one more time on the last one.
One more time, you got it.
No. No, he's done.
All right, taking the L on that, going to the dressage. This is going to be where he shines. It's performance checks.
Yeah.
First one is trotting.
Let's see. 26.
26, extremely well. You take off a significant amount of time on your run, and because you did so well, you actually get advantage on this next performance check. Next one is prancing. Go ahead.
That is a 27.
27, same deal. More time off and advantage on the next one, which is bucking.
26.
26. Still take time off. That's very good. You don't get advantage on this last one, though, but you are on the very last skill, dancing.
Oh no. That's his worst one yet. 20.
20. Still a success. That ends your run. Let me do some math here to see how you did.
Oh, not good. Not good, probably.
Let's see.
I don't have anything to do a drum roll with. Oh god.
Feel free to talk amongst yourselves as I bring out my handy calculator.
That's not a good drum roll.
No.
Gee, I didn't roll very well. I had one decent roll. The next,
only
like, one, I had
50
one 18. The rest of them were 12 or lower.
Okay, I have
Like,
your
the
score.
dice.
I have your score. As a reminder, Eric's needs 120 or lower to move on. Eric's, you scored 144. Unfortunately, not enough. It does place you in 5th place. Unfortunately, eliminating Eric's from the competition. Let me write this on my little bracket here, which means that Athens, Isle of Ilium, and Arcadia move on to the next round. Okay, that is all the equestrian for the day. As they get ready for the long distance event, you guys can go and take some of your bets. So, Alexios, you lose your bet on Eric's, so you don't get that. However, Adagio, you bet successfully that Palmas would move to the quarterfinals, so you can get 30 gold pieces. Ryujin, you bet that Sparta would not come in first in the very first round, which was true, so you can get 15 gold. All right. That brings us to the first long-distance events of the day. Now, these long-distance events is 8 competitors running at the same time. It is several laps around the arena, getting progressively harder and harder for them to maintain their speed. So, the first heat, Prince Ilion of Sparta. There's also Thebes, Giantsbane, Xander, Corinth, Delphi, Palmus, and Agamemnia. Anyone like to place some bets, both formally or informally?
On the Prince of Sparta?
You want to bet on the Prince of Sparta?
Yeah.
How much?
Is this just the heat? Or yeah,
This is
just the heat.
This is just a heat.
Yeah, I bet he's gonna advance for now. It's not gonna be a lot, but 50 gold.
50 gold.
Not gonna be a lot. That's like
Yeah,
Like,
that is a very
he's
safe
just
bet.
a quarter of what I have.
Can I bet that he has a top 3 time for the day?
Sure. Yeah, it's a little bit of a more specific bet. Top 3 time. Okay, so that
Yeah,
will,
50
if you
gold.
bet 50 gold, that will get you a whopping 55 gold. All right, any other bets?
I want to make our personal bets for this one, since we have no stake in the game this time.
Absolutely.
At all.
I'll take the
Agamemnia. Ilme, a huge Agamemnia fan.
I'll take Xander.
Sure.
What's left over?
You have Sparta, Thebes, Giantsbane, Corinth, Delphi, and Palmus.
Delphi.
Sure.
I'll take Corinth as my unofficial bet.
You got it.
I'll do Sparta.
Sure. Betting on Ilion. You got it.
Teams uprising we bet on.
I love it. I think that's great. Okay, so the
Always love
first
this villain.
long-distance trial. Ilion, shocking to no one, starts off strong. However, those of you with high passive insights get a sense from him that he is distracted.
Poor
And it
baby.
seems to affect his run to the point where, after the first few laps, he seems to be falling a bit behind the pack. Surprisingly, the runner from Agamemnia, who in this heat is the lowest seeded athlete, seems to be getting some energy from seeing how slow Prince Ilion is doing. And actually wins the entire heat. Agamemnia wins the heat. Prince Ilion comes in dead last.
To kill him?
Yeah, you see, there are lots of angry people who bet a lot of money on Prince Ilion, who are shocked that he came in dead last. Moving on from this heat, you have Agamemnia in first place, Thebes in second, Xander in third, and Delphi in fourth. The second heat is Athens, Spear Point, Ithaca, Vultura, Midas, Sylvan, Hephaestus Islands, and Arcadia.
What?
Fine.
8 people, baby.
We-
I'll take Spear Point.
Sure. Sylvan's
do
an option,
Arcadia.
Endora, if you want Sylvan.
I'll take Sullivan.
Sure. Sylvan, Arcadia.
Officially, Anora's gonna bet 5 gold that the Sullivan person moves on.
You got it. 5 gold that Sylvan moves on. That will get you... it'll double, so 10 gold if that is what happens.
Okay. So did we say that Wheel and Woe won't trip up the Owlers, I can't say their names, Owlers won't catch that?
That is true, but what's the range on Wheel and Woe?
It's 30 feet, so I'd have to be close like when I come around each lap, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even that you'd have to get all the way up to the front of the stands to attempt to do that as well. So you certainly can. It just won't be the most inconspicuous thing in the world.
I'm not gonna do it this time. I was just wondering, like,
Yeah.
making sure for like future ones.
I will say it'll be much easier to do when you are on the field yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So, with bets placed, the second heat begins. The top-seeded Athenian runner does pretty well, but not as well as would necessarily be expected of her. You see, it's a fairly even match for most of the race, and only in the last few legs of this race does it really start to see who is exhausted and who is not. A surprising but well-deserved win from Midas, with the Hephaestus Islands close behind, almost a photo finish between the two of them. The other competitors that move on: in third place, Spear Point, and in fourth place, Sylvan. So, Honora, you do get your 10 gold.
How's
And
it gambling?
Alexios, you lose your 50 gold. That is day 1 of the Olympics. Once the events for the day are finished, The wager house is bombarded with people either placing new bets or changing their bets or collecting from the bets of the day. Tomorrow, there is more equestrian and more long distance before day 3 when the quarterfinals for equestrian begin. It starts to get really exciting. The first few days of the Olympics are maybe the least packed. As you get to day 7, there's going to be equestrian finals, long distance semifinals, unarmed combat trials, discus quarterfinals. A lot of stuff will be happening all at once. It sort of leads you into that gradually. But day 2, let's see who is competing that we care about. In equestrian, in the first heat of the day, it is going to be the first event of Algasmir the Riverborn of Xander, who everyone is very excited about, mostly because no one really knows what this guy's about. They just are hearing about him as him being this amazing athlete that sort of popped up out of nowhere in Xander. So that's going to be exciting for them. Also in that same heat is Halcyone, who is the pentathlete for Delphi. She's the Tabaxi monk. She's extremely fast and extremely adept. And she will be competing in the equestrian against Algasmir. And then in the next heat in equestrian will be Althea's first event. So if Althea hopes to get a year off of her sentence, she has to hope to be doing pretty well in that heat as well. And then after that heat is Anura's heat for the equestrian event, up against some nice competition from Voltura and from Midas. And then after that, there is a 4th heat with no one of particular interest to the party. So, Anura, first of all, make sure you wheel and woe for today.
Shit, yeah, it's a new day.
New day.
I am on wheel.
man, I didn't use that one.
Okay, so.
Ooh. I broke my divination, and I rolled a nat 20 and a 3, which I probably also will be using.
Fuck me up, I swear to God.
Nat 3.
Okay, so the very first equestrian event of the day, Algasmir and Halcyone's run.
Wait, can I say that even though I don't know who's participating today, I'm not going to be at the games.
Sure, no problem. No problem. What would you like to be doing instead?
I'm going to try and find... Shoot, I wrote her name down somewhere! Oh, frick. All my notes are all over the place.
How can I help?
What does she do?
Pentathlete for Athens.
Ophelia.
Yeah.
Ophelia with Head of Flame.
Yeah.
The first time for everything.
I want to go and find her.
Absolutely.
That's my accomplishment. Not if I win the Olympic equestrian thing that I remember the name.
Yeah. Okay, so as everyone is gathering in the arena for the first event of the day, Ilme, you can find Ophelia in the Athenian compound, preparing, training, practicing. Currently, you see that she is practicing her javelin throw in the Athenian compound as you find her.
Okay. Can I go up to her and just be like, hey, I need to talk to you privately?
She lands right in the target. She goes, yeah, I mean, everyone else is at the games. What's up?
Okay, don't hate me, but I have motives that need to happen for these games, so I'm not afraid to use some blackmail here.
Well, no conversation has ever started this well. Great, go ahead.
I know about you and whatever her name is.
Eviana.
This.
She sort of pauses. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw the messenger and you.
What of it?
Well, I also know that there is a secret marriage alliance between the princess and the prince.
I mean, I don't know if that's... Okay.
And how would that affect the princess if it was leaked of this affair?
Look. What exactly is your ask here?
I want you to throw the pentathlon.
That is a big ask. What do you think that will achieve?
We need a certain person to win. She doesn't have good odds, so I'm looking for other ways. This is one of them.
I don't think you know the wasp's nest you're stepping in here.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know, but we have things that need to be accomplished, and a certain person has to win.
Who needs to win?
Question is, should I tell you?
I don't know. I'm not in a position to tell anyone your secrets now, am I?
Really? And I will reiterate, I really don't want to do this to you. You're a great person, but we have things that need to be done. And I will not let that not happen.
The pentathlon is long, and we got a lot of time until then. Up until this conversation, I've quite liked you and your friends. I trained with you guys. You saved my city. I feel like I owe a great debt to you. If you had played this maybe a little differently, I could have helped you and your friend, whoever needs to win the pentathlon. There's lots of opportunity for support amongst the pentathletes. Lots of opportunity to train someone. But instead, you decided to threaten me with something you barely even know about. And you have no idea the ramifications of if that were to get out. So, I don't feel like I'm in any particular mood to help you at this point.
I'm not afraid to let it out. To me, this was the best bet to at least make sure one person wouldn't win.
Can I give you a piece of advice?
I'm all ears.
Stay out of my way. And she just puts her javelin in the ground and walks away.
As she walks away, I'll be like, don't blame me if this gets out.
She pauses. And don't blame me if you start a war that doesn't need to be started.
I'll walk away.
So, round 1 of the day. Heat number 3 of the equestrian event. Algasmir versus Halcyone versus a bunch of other people. The talk of the event is Algasmir. Some people have seen him walking around the Zendarian compound, but no one has seen him perform, really. No one really knows what his strengths are, so he's a wild card, but the talk about him is extreme. He does the equestrian event, and he's completely average. It's a bit of a letdown to everyone in the crowd, really. They're expecting something miraculous. He does fairly well. Nothing to write home about. Nothing to be ashamed of. Almost as if it was, his first attempt. Can't really blame the guy for doing okay. However, another... Oh, yeah, Alexios?
look like anyone we know, like, from a distance? Like, shape-wise, like, does he look familiar in any way, shape, or form to me, I guess?
Make a perception check.
I don't know what my perception is. Roll high. That is... 1 second. 14, and my perception is a plus that high. Okay, that's a 15.
15. You don't really know. I mean, A, he's pretty far away, so you're not really sure, but also, you can tell very clearly he's a water genasi. You don't know a ton of water genasis. I don't think you've met a ton. So, no, nothing about him strikes you as familiar. I will say... Adagio, what's your perception? Your passive perception?
Let me see. It is 18.
18. Okay. So, Algasmir is first and does fairly well. In another nail biter, yeah, you don't know shit. In another nail biter, Hearthstone and Agamemnia tied for first. But in the first real controversy of the games, Palmus and Corinth also tied for third and fourth, which then raised the question, if only 3 can move on, and you have 2 people who tied for first and 2 people who tied for third, who gets to move on? The Owler gave them a quick tiebreaker, which Corinth won. And so the Owler essentially made a ruling that Corinth will move on. However, if the person in the next trial, if the third place athlete from the next trial scores slower than both of them, then both of them will go into the next trial, and only 2 people from the next heat will move on. Essentially, very complicated, but there's the potential for the next round for only 2 athletes to move on. Which brings us to the next round. So Algasmir did not move on, nor did Halcyone. Halcyone, not built for equestrian, really, mostly built for speed and for unarmed combat. No one really expected her to win this. But in the next one is Althea. The competitor from Drachora in Althea's trial tied the Olympic record that was set the previous day with 48 seconds. So, a very confident start from Drachora. But to make the controversy from the previous heat even more complicated, Althea and the athlete from Giantsbane in this heat completed the course in exactly 90 seconds, which is a tie with the 2 people who tied in the previous heat. Because they would have come in second and third place in their heat, the Owler decided to leave that 4th competitor from that other heat out of the quarterfinals, only promote Corinth from that quarterfinal, and promote these 3 candidates from this heat. So, the people moving on are Drachora, Agamemnia, Hearthstone, Ice Point, Giantsbane, and Corinth. Which then means that the next round is Anura's. So, Anura, are you ready? Anura? Here's what I'll say, Anna. Because you are a late edition, you also get to go last in your trial, in your heat. Which means that everyone else gets to go before you. Arcadia comes in and ties the Olympic record of 48 seconds.
Fuck me!
Midas comes in and beats that again with a new Olympic record of 42 seconds. Which means it is now a race for third. Now, the good news is this. Those two are in a league of their own. The rest of the pack is in a much more normal area. Anura, you need to score 102 seconds or lower to place and move on. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I am not. Give me 1 second. Okay. Anura, what are you starting with?
Message.
Dressage. Okay. Make your first performance check.
I'm adding to it. Okay. That makes it a dirty 20.
Dirty 20 is a success, and a good success is at that. You get to subtract some time from your score. Next one.
Okay.
Prancing.
Alright. 16.
16. Success. Moving on to bucking.
That's upside down, so 19.
19. Also a success, which brings us to dancing, the final dressage.
That is going to be 18.
18. Just fails. Do you want to try again?
How much time does it add if I try again?
If you try again, just adds another 6 seconds. If you decide to skip it, it'll add 18 seconds.
Try again.
Go ahead.
Add to it. That makes it a 23.
23. Success. What are you doing next? The weight pull or the fence jump?
Weight pool.
All right. You can add your intelligence or dexterity modifier.
Oh my god, it went under my computer. Let's get it back out. That is going to be a 21.
21 is a success. That brings us to the fence jump. First fence.
These are animal handling, right?
Animal handling, that's right.
Ooh, that's going to be a 28.
28, that is very good, which means that you get to take this next one with advantage.
That is going to be a 27 then.
What's your animal handling score?
Plus 9.
Jesus Christ. Okay. You also get advantage on this one. Third one, go ahead.
That is going to be a 27 again. I got an 18. So.
27, okay. Last one with advantage, go ahead.
That is going to be a 24.
24 is a success, all right. An astonishing way to end the event. Let's see what we got here.
That being able to add 6 on the dressage.
That is a very good score. No way. Okay, be honest with me before I say this number. Were any of those rolls fudged?
No. Those were with the having to add, and then the advantage, I rolled a 3 and then an 18.
Speaking of those numbers specifically, Anura sets a new Olympic record of 18 seconds.
What? No!
Wait, what?
18 seconds. 3 rounds, folks. 3 rounds.
I kid you not, if I had not had advantage, I would have failed all the last 3. Because I rolled a 3, a 2, and a 3.
That...
What were the other ones? Like 40s?
Huh? Oh, yeah, so...
18, a 17, and 15.
So...
The other
that
competitors?
means- yeah, so, Midas has a 42. Arcadia has a 48. Hephaestus Islands has 102. Voltura has 144. And then there was no 6th competitor because that would be Nepiot. So, Anura, not only do you move on to the next round, but you also gain the Victor's Boon, which means that at one point in the next round, at any point, you can choose to re-roll one roll.
Can I say to make things more fair, can we outlaw wheel and woe? Because that did save me on dressage.
Sure. If you want to make it more competitive, absolutely.
I feel like it's a little
cheaty.
I feel like it might be a little much.
Sure. I'm all for making it harder for yourself.
Well, because, like, I know with the D6, that's very much so the difference between me passing and failing, because I rolled, like, a 15, and that would have failed.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is, with a score like 18 seconds, if you keep scoring that low, the referees might start to get suspicious of how you're doing that, you know?
Yeah, I don't feel like I feel like it would give off some kind of magic anyway.
Yeah. So I think because it's a new thing the Owlers weren't necessarily expecting, it's not necessarily magic per se, that this one will be ruled a genuine 18-second run, but they will have their eyes on you for the future quarterfinal.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. It just feels like it would be magic.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I also, in preparation for this, I was doing some research on what things are and aren't magic, and I was fascinated to find the ones that aren't explicitly listed as magic. Like, for instance, Bardic Inspiration is not magical. Bardic Inspiration is genuinely just how much you talking or singing makes your friends, like, happier and makes them better at what they're doing.
I love and hate that.
Yeah.
It's so wholesome, but how is it not magical?
I know. Of course, like, there are some bards that can use Bardic Inspiration to do other stuff, but Bardic Inspiration at its core is just you being really good at music. Okay, so
once I'm done with my heat and I leave to go find the Arcanist from Sylvan, I can never remember her name.
Alar Zena Vodel.
Thank you.
Yeah, Arcanist Alar. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
They've already signed the document, but you can. I mean, they're in the crowd.
Yeah, I wanted to go talk to them about
Sure.
the wish thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to like the sort of Sylvan area of the crowd, and they are giving you mad props for representing the city in this way. And the Arcanist sort of grabs you and goes, "Oh, that was so amazing, so way that was unbelievable. You are meant to be an equestrian. Oh, my gods."
Thank you. It was nice to be able to do something and it go well and have no actual, bad consequences immediately.
Yes, of course. I am familiar with the feeling.
Yeah, so I wanted to come and talk to you about you were going to look for somebody who could cast Wish, and I want to help because it's going to be something to help me.
Of course. Well, people of that power are few and far between, and rarely do they offer that power without a significant cost.
Okay. What does that cost tend to be?
Well, that depends. I mean, there are creatures, genies and jinns and those sort of things that have the ability to wish, but they often are a bit mischievous with their prices. But there are those who have simply gained the ability to wish via a powerful study of their own wizards, a very strong and ancient wizards. But men, like genies, are selfish. And while there perhaps might be some that you could merely pay with gold, very often that kind of power, for something that is once in a lifetime opportunity, they would require a once in a lifetime kind of price. Some might not even see you if you do not make it worth their while.
I mean, I've been with one of my friends when they dealt with a genie before, and it was for something completely even different than using like a wish spell. Have you ever known anybody who's made a bargain before?
I would.
Or something like a wish spell, like especially something this caliber?
I know someone who was tempted by this deal. A rumor, nothing more. But they ended up not doing it, for they thought that it would perhaps bring about what they wished for in a not genuine way.
Do you know what they were going to give up for it? Or whatever it was?
Well, the way the story goes, it was your departed King Theseus, who in his search for a bride sought out a powerful mage who could perhaps create a bride for him. But the mage wanted in payment for this deed, wanted all the years that they would spend together.
So it could be something that ends up at the same equivalent as dying.
Perhaps. Might I ask, what exactly... I do not want to lead you on a path that could be so destructive. There is one I know of who might possess this ability that I know is good of heart. But whether or not she will see you is another story.
Who?
I will tell you this. Continue to compete for Sylvan in the Equestrian, and should you get your laurel, I will tell you. What? I do not have many cards to play here.
Yeah, like I'm gonna stop competing for Sullivan if you tell me.
I just want to incentivize you. Perhaps if you lose, maybe I shall give you a consolation prize, but I am fickle on this.
I'm trying not to laugh because this is a really serious moment. The DJ's trying to give me toxic pickup lines to drop with the Arcanist in the Discord. I'm just scared that this would be something that is worse than me just dying.
I cannot say. But the conversation could not hurt.
Yeah. No, it's just... a lot.
Of course. Well, until next time, yes? Continue thinking about this.
I'm gonna like have a consolation prize.
If you lose, we will talk.
Okay. DJ, I kid you not, the only thing I could think of was more bad pickup lines. When you said consolation prize, all I wanted to be was like, would you be the consolation prize?
No.
They're all stuck in my head now because of DJ.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's true.
This is
Very true.
all because Honora Gay panicked for all of 5 minutes when we met the Arcanist originally.
You realize the Arcanist isn't female.
They're non-binary, right?
Yeah, but they're non-binary mask.
That doesn't matter. I was thinking they were non-binary though.
That's fair. That's fair.
I
You
count
just trying to get
non-binary
annoyed,
as
right? At this
Yeah,
point?
but-
non-binary gay panicking.
But they're mask enough that they identify as gay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Now I need to know all the specifics of everybody. Don't you say
Alar
that.
is a very interesting character on paper that hasn't really got to... Anyway. I love Laylar.
What's up with wish spell? Who can cast wish?
You'll find out. I mean, Wish is a
Wish
9th
how?
level.
I'm in general.
Wish is the
Bards
9th level
cast Wish?
spell. Not typically. If you're thinking of Scanlan, that was I think because he was a lore bard. So he was able to access spells from other spell lists. Specifically,
I thought there was a second subclass besides Lord that did.
I don't think so. It's mostly just a wizard or a sorcerer thing.
Okay.
We don't
And
know
also,
yet.
if you're a genie warlock, you can do it as well. But it is a 9th level spell. And there are some uses of the spell that, basically, if you're trying to use a spell to do something that another spell isn't capable of, there's a chance that doing so could make you unable to cast the spell ever again. That's how powerful this thing is.
The whole
Position of magic.
Yeah.
Alright, well, at some point, I want to talk to Ryujin to see if he can, like, talk to his brother about what he was asking about. That could be later.
Yeah. Yeah, Ilmay?
Sammy, real quick, can I just say that I turn invisible and, like, pretty much stalk Ophelia to see if she, like, tries to pass on my blackmail in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
We love our
Make
little
it-
rogue.
Make a stealth check with advantage for me.
Gosh, you love
What
our
dice
little
should I
rogue.
use?
Always being sneaky. Ilma is the
Yes.
only one with any kind of tact, though, who can't be sneaky. The rest of us are just like, hey.
What's my stealth? My stealth is there. Okay. 28.
28. Okay. For most of the day, she's just practicing and she's staying on the Athenian compound. However, there is a point where a messenger comes to her. Not wearing Athenian garb or Zendarian garb, just sort of like general Phelonian commoner garb. And they say, sorry, Ophelia? Yeah! He would like to see you, please. Yeah, okay, I'll make myself presentable. She washes her face, sort of rinses her hair, and makes herself look a little bit nicer, but still, she's an athlete in ancient Greece. But she then heads to the main big tent, the fancy tent that all the fancy people get to go into. There are far fewer people in it now than when you were previously in here, because most of them are at the games. But there are still enough people in here that there's a bit of a crowd. You see Ophelia heads over to the bar and sits and gets a drink and just sits there for a while until eventually there's only her and one other person at this bar, sat several seats away from each other. But you see the other person at the bar drinking away is Prince Ilion. And once it is basically just them, Ilion turns to her. Ophelia, I can't do it. Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you. They're gonna make you. I can't, I have to be true to my heart. Ilion, your heart can't survive your father. It just can't. Oh, no. You see, like, Ilion is drunk at this point. Oh, Ophelia, I just want you. That's all I want in this world. I don't want the throne. I don't care about that. I just want you. Well, I want you too, but that doesn't change the way things are. Okay? I've loved competing against you. You know that. I've loved you, and I will always, and I still do, and none of that can stop it when cities are conspiring against us. Marry your heiress and make a bunch of babies and be happy. I'll never be happy without you. Ilion, you're a prince. You can afford to think about all the ways your life could go. I am a common girl from Athens. I don't have that luxury. I can follow my heart to a point, but this is far above me. So, I'll see you in the arena, but this has to end. She finishes her drink, gets up, and leaves, as Ilian just sits there and orders another. As Ophelia exits the tent, she's sort of just like, oh god. Gotta keep working out. And she goes back to the Athenian compound.
Can I follow her and she's walking back, turn visible beside her and be like, so that's how it goes, huh?
She whips around and grabs you and pulls you into an alley, roughly, and sort of pins you up against a wall. She's like, what the fuck did I say?
Hey, I gotta find out ways to make my deal happen. You're an interesting character. You know, I like you more and more and more I learn about you.
Okay. So, yes. What? What do you want from me?
Point that out, because I found it very entertaining watching that conversation.
They don't know about each other. But this marriage between them, neither of them wants it. And I cannot be the one in the middle of that, because if either of their fathers find out that I'm the reason they don't want this, I'm a fucking dead man, okay? So I'm keeping my nose out.
If you do what I ask, they won't have to know.
Not all of us can be dragon slayers and kraken slayers, okay? This is all I can do to make a living, to support my parents, to be anything other than just a common girl. And winning the pentathlon, that gets me so much back home. Why would I just give that up for you, for someone you won't even name for me?
Oh, what we've been trying to do, getting these signatures, right?
Yeah, your mission from the gods or whatever.
That is the whole entire reason why I have to make sure this person wins. To get a signature, this person has to win the pentathlon.
Okay.
That is why I'm trying to make sure that happens.
How about this? In your new world order, when the gods have been sort of shoved off and it's people in charge, are you going to be in a position of power?
Potentially. But
Then
I do work in the shadows.
you and your friends, when you're in your positions of power in the new world, you're going to look after me and my family. You're going to make us
Well, that's easy.
lords or something. You're going to give us land. You're going to make sure that we live nice, comfortable lives. And if you do that, I will help your friend win the pentathlon.
We'll point out there is all that land outside of of Delphi that is being transmitted to farmland.
And then we roll over that.
Get your hands off my dolphin.
That seems like a fair deal to me.
Area.
I like you, and I really didn't want to have to do anything bad to you. But girls gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
She sort of smiles and she's like, well, you can like me, but don't like me, because believe me, I've got enough of that already.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I think we think alike in some ways, which is why I like you.
All right.
You just marry them. Oh.
Now, who's the friend that I'm helping?
Mariana. She has a deal with Sparta. It's not Sparta. Yes, Sparta.
Voltura.
No, Voltura.
Voltura, frick!
She's from
With
Sparta,
Voltura.
so I understand.
Yeah. With Voltura, that she has to win.
All right. I will pay her a visit.
And then just as an extra little bit, because of the helping and what we have to do for your family, I'll give her 500 gold.
Woo! Shakespeare's like,
Should have led with that.
yeah, she's like, okay, this is how you start a conversation.
Well,
Love her.
that's not where my mind goes at first.
All right, well, maybe you and I are not as similar as we think, okay? She just puts it in her pocket. She's like, now, can I go? In
Yep.
peace?
No more from me. You won't hear anything else.
All right, she lets go of you. She's like, you go that way, and then I'll go this way.
I walk off.
Okay.
Just making my step because I think this is great.
Awesome.
I'm having fun.
So,
Somebody's threatening people while we're all in the arena.
the rest of the equestrian trial takes place, the final equestrian heat. There's an impressive performance from the Volturian athlete. He comes in at 66 seconds, which prior to today would have been very impressive. Spearpoint, their brother from across the Isle of Ares, comes in second with a respectable 84 seconds. Also, very nice before today. And then the Isles of Ilium comes in third, meaning that no one from the continent proper survives through that heat, only the island people. Which means that the quarterfinal that Anura will be participating in will also have Voltura, Spearpoint, Isles of Ilium, Midas, and Arcadia. But that won't be until
So all the
day
people who set
4.
records,
Huh?
all the people who set records are in the quarterfinals with me.
Basically, yeah.
Oh
But
my
remember,
god!
there are four quarterfinals. You're only in one of them, which will then reduce to 2 semifinals and then the final. So who knows?
But the you said is all the record setters.
Yeah.
Oh god.
In the long distance trial, the first heat of the day is Shaxelius's heat, and he does extremely well. He is not necessarily super fast. He's about of average speed, but as the race goes on and everyone else seems to get tired, he seems to just keep pushing further and further and further, much more, has much higher stamina than the rest of them, and he comes in easy first place. Ice Point comes in behind him. Agamemnia and Corinth tied for 3 and 4, and because it's a heat of 8, that means that both of them will be moving on to the next round, so that is the 4 from that round, which means that the final race of the day is Lathos's heat of the long distance event. So, because this is different than equestrian, this is a race that's happening all at the same time. So, Lathos, are you ready? As a reminder of how this event works, throughout the race, you will make a series of 8 Constitution saving throws that represent your exhaustion throughout the race. I will remind you, as any good coach would, that as the race goes on, it will become harder and harder to successfully make those Constitution saving throws. So there is strategy, because in the race you will have 2 uses of boost. So what boost means is that before you make your con save, you can use your boost to decide to make that roll with advantage. The strategy involved in that is that if you roll extremely well on your con save, there's the potential for you to roll so well that you actually get advantage on the next roll automatically. So what most racers find productive in terms of strategy is to use one of your boosts on the very first leg to hopefully then have it sort of ricochet and continue on by itself, and then use that second boost for when that inevitably fails. But you are entitled to do whatever it is you would like to do. One last thing, what is Lathos' base speed?
Hello?
Hi. What is Lathos' base speed?
40 feet.
40. So that means that in addition to your Constitution saving throw modifier, you could also add an additional +2 to all of these rolls. All right?
Is it saving throw?
Yeah, so con save and then add an additional 2 for each saving throw. Are you ready?
I guess. I'll do the boost in the beginning.
Okay. So you use your first of 2 boosts in the beginning for the first leg. Go ahead and make your first Constitution saving throw.
Alright, so advantage, +2 plus saving. God, glad I did advantage. The first one was a 2.
Woof.
29.
29. Yes, you are hasted significantly. Nice job, which means that on the next con save, you will have advantage, and you'll have an additional +5 on your save as well.
Oh.
So, as you go, most of the race is alongside you at this point. A lot of people use that first boost. A lot of people, it'd be sort of dumb if they all sort of became exhausted immediately. However, there is about a pack of 5 of you that are together, and then there's 3 that are falling a little bit behind, but there is still time for them to catch up. Second con save, again with advantage, +5, +2, plus your con save.
Oh, 33.
Jesus. Yes, another
15.
Another very successful run. Again, advantage and another +5 on the next one. There is now a pack of just 3 of you. There's you, the Hephaestus Island runner, and the Sylvan runner that have maintained at the same speed. Everyone else is starting to fall behind a bit, but the race is only beginning. Third leg, go ahead and roll. Advantage +5, +2.
Okay. 32 instead. I literally rolled 19, 18, 17. Like, they're really good, but
that is
slightly
still
lower.
Very good, and still good enough for you to get advantage on the next one and +5 on the next one again. It is now just you and the Sylvan runner that are still at the same speed, extremely fast. It is now time for the 4th leg. This is the halfway point. Go ahead and roll.
Sylvan? 19. I rolled
19 still succeeds, but just barely. So you do slow down a bit. Now, luckily, the Sylvan runner slows down the same. So on this next one, you no longer have advantage. You no longer have that additional +5. However, you do still have your second use of boost if you want to use it, or if you want to save it for later. You're absolutely welcome to.
BB says.
You rub your magic 8-ball. Here's what I'll say as your coach. I'll say that it'll only get harder and harder as the race goes on to get that advantage. So on the one hand, it makes sense to get an advantage for as long as you possibly can, which would which would then mean you should use it now. However, because it gets harder and harder as you go, there's a higher chance of you eventually needing to roll with disadvantage on a future roll, which this boost could then counteract as a single roll. So, dealer's choice.
Just use it now.
Use it now. Okay, 5th leg, advantage, just plus your con save, +2.
Less stress. That is plus 22.
22 is enough to succeed, but not enough to gain you anything, which actually means that you are falling a little bit behind Sullivan right now. But you're still very much within the realm of possibility of winning this outright, and you're certainly in a good position to move on in the top 4, although you could still fail, as this is when it starts to get extremely hard, and now you no longer have any boosts. You are just now to a straight roll for the 6th, plus your con save, +2.
But in the beginning. Again, 22.
22! Still nice. Still nice. The Sylvan Runner has not gotten any further away from you, but you also haven't caught up to them yet either. But that's a good place to go into the 7th leg. You're still not at disadvantage or advantage. You're still running steady, which is, at this point, very rare and very good. Everyone else besides Sylvan Runner is falling further and further behind you. Go ahead and make the 7th roll, please.
Runner. Golly, the human, they want yeah. Ooh, that, okay, 29.
29 at this point in the race is enough to succeed, but not enough to gain you advantage. It is just enough to keep you steady. I'm telling you, it gets very hard. Like the DC for that was a DC 24. Which brings us to the final... Yeah, the final check in this race. Still, Sullivan is just ahead of you, but you could still catch up on this last one. Go ahead and make your final roll.
Okay, but what if I use my determination to turn this into 3?
I mean, make a sleight of hand check if you want to do it.
Oh god. You know what? I'm already placing in the next round. I might as well.
It's true. You're already through. You're already through.
Yeah, that was 11 plus 10, so 21.
21. You do slow slightly, but you're still a very, very nice score. You do come right after the Sullivan Runner, but still significantly ahead of everyone else. Just to give you a bit of comparison, you're 1 point away from Sullivan, and then the person in 3rd behind you is 8 points behind you. So, you and Sullivan were sort of in a race of your own there, but you do absolutely move on to the next round, Lathos. So, shout out to you!
Can I introduce myself to the damn Sullivan Runner who's like a ball of lightning?
Yeah, you see it's an elven girl, very lean but very muscular. She's like, good race.
I like the opposites, because you know, like, this is like huge.
Yeah.
Like, this big... How do you do it?
Well, I'm naturally fast, and I'm pretty fucking good at this, I guess.
Yeah, really. Dude, I will be looking for you. I want to see a gold laurel around your neck.
You do, from watching her in the race, you get the sense that she probably has the ability to move a lot in one round of combat, as if she's able to take the dash action multiple times in a given round, like a rogue or a monk. Oops. So, that is the end of day 2 of the Olympics. Day number 3 will consist of Oh yeah, sorry.
I was like, why did I not bet for like Lathos like passing?
Yeah, for real. For real. Day 3 will be the first 2 quarterfinals of the Equestrian event, which is the one that Althea will be in, but not the one that Honora will be in just yet. And the next 2 trials for long distance, which one of them is the one that Iasis will be in. So Iasis will compete next time. We will come to that right when we come back from our break. So we'll take a quick intermission here. Those of you, if you need to re-roll for daily stuff as we enter day 3, you are welcome to do so. Until then, we will see you very soon. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back. Let's hop right back into day 3 of the Olympic Games here. For our sakes, and you can stop me if you don't want to, but I'm just going to sort of speed through some of the heats that people that we don't really care about are in. So the first quarterfinal of the equestrian event, the very first thing of the day, the Palmas athlete that Adagio was championing continues to dominate, coming in first with a time of 60 seconds, with Sparta in a close second at 66 seconds. Again, would have been impressive if not for the 18-second time from yesterday. The Corinthian athlete in this quarterfinal was potentially drunk. He was unable to control his horse at all. He took 228 seconds to complete the course. So a bit of a disgrace from the Corinthian athlete, unfortunately. The second quarterfinal of the day is the one that Althea is in. She puts on an impressive show, coming in at 66 seconds, coming in first. It was later tied by the athlete from Corinth, different Corinthian, putting them both at the same time as Sparta in the other quarterfinal. Drachmae, after coming in first in the trial phase, fell apart during the weight pull during this heat and came dead last in this race. But Giant Spain is the one that faced a real tragedy. Giant Spain spent nearly the entire run at world record pace, on track to come very close to Anura's world record, but then fell apart in the final fence jump and could not get his horse across the final fence, but also was too proud to just accept defeat, and ended up not only not making a world record, but barely missing the third place spot, coming in fourth, and therefore not proceeding to the semifinals. But that means that of those 2 quarterfinals, that is not the right one. Here it is. Of the 2 quarterfinals, the semifinal, one of the 2 semifinals, is made up of Palmas, the one that Adagio has been championing, Althea of Ice Point, a Corinthian, a Spartan, someone from Hearthstone, and someone from Drachmae. That is all the equestrian for the day, which brings us to 2 more heats for the long distance trials. The first heat, not a particularly interesting one. Sparta had an incredibly powerful performance in this heat. They came far ahead of Thebes, who came in second, and Drachmae, who came in third. They actually basically tied. There was another controversy in this one, that Ice Point and Giant Spain tied for 4th and 5th. And because in long distance, 4 athletes from each heat move on. So after Ice Point won a tiebreaker, the Owler decided to do something similar to what he had done yesterday with Equestrian, and essentially, if the 4th place runner in the next trial is slower than both of these people, then only those competitors will be sent to the quarterfinals, which means that Iasis has a bit more of a challenge ahead of him, as he is the next trial. So, what this means, in long distance, the score is rated on a sort of a negative to positive scale. with 0 being like an average run. Well, not really. Zero is impressive in and of itself. It's average for Olympians. But for Iasis to move on, technically he would need to score a -4 or higher. However, if he scores between a -4 and 0, he falls in that weird point where he's slower than the people from the other trial and will not move on. So he actually needs to score above a 0 to move on. So,
Hey, Sammy, real quick.
yes. Yeah.
Never mind.
You sure?
I think I was looking at the stream and it was taking forever for the coming back to go away, and I guess it's just that laggy.
Oh no.
Because the whole entire time you were talking, it said, "We'll be right back."
Seriously?
Yeah, but it could be maybe just lagging that much. I don't know. I'd have to listen now.
During
Let me
intermission, I
No,
did.
it's just that laggy.
Okay.
It's starting from where you began. I was
Okay.
freaking out.
Phew. During intermission, I
trying
did
to,
change
like,
some
save
settings
the
to
stream.
actually make it less laggy. But who knows? Good for looking out though. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
assuming that everything on stream is working fine, that brings us
It looks
to
like it doesn't.
Iasis's trial. So,
Why Iris has got to have this extra pressure? We all know he doesn't do good with it.
that's true. He doesn't. But this should be okay for him. So, Iasis, what is Iasis's base speed?
I'm pulling up his Olympic stat block right now.
Got you.
His base is 50.
50.
Holy fuck,
Okay.
50.
So in addition to his con save, you will also be able to add an additional 4 to all of those con saves to represent his speed. But also, for every roll, you could also decide to use a key point to dash, and for that you would also be able to add an additional 1 to your con save for that leg.
So in theory, he could just do a dash on every one though, because he has 13 key points. And Step of the Wind is only 1 key point.
Yes, so for someone of his high level as a monk, you should assume that you're using dash for all of it. So in addition to the +4, as you can essentially do con save +5 every time.
So con save, so +5. Okay.
Yeah, so what's his base con save?
His base con save is a +2.
Okay, so it'll be a +7 instead. All right, are you ready? I'll also remind you that like Lathos, Isis has 2 uses of boost, which would allow him to have advantage on a con save. And I'll give you the same advice that I gave to Lathos, which is that there is some strategy in boosting on the very first leg. So, up to you. First leg.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Isis will boost,
Okay. Advantage.
and then it's just a con save with advantage.
Advantage, con save, so +7 total.
Good thing I used that he rolled a 2. Okay. That is going to be a 25.
25. All right, that is a great start. You do have advantage on the next one, and you have an additional +5, so it'll be a +12 total on your next con save. You are...
You have to do it.
Just add +12 to whatever you roll next. Immediately, there is a certain group that is branching off from the rest. There's an Athenian and an Ithaca athlete that are around the same speed as you, with an Arcadian just behind you, and everyone else sort of falling behind. That brings us to the second con save. Advantage +12. Go ahead and roll.
That ended up being an 18 against a 30.
Nice. Okay, so continuing strong. You still get advantage on the next one, and you get to maintain that +12 for the next one as well. The Athenian and the person from Ithaca are staying with you in that race as well. Third leg, go ahead.
Alright. That's only going to be a 23.
23. Okay, you still get advantage, but you no longer have that additional +5, so you're going to be back to just your +7. The Athenian does fall a bit behind you, but you are in turn falling a bit behind the person from Ithaca, who is maintaining steady. But you still get advantage. Fourth roll, go ahead.
That's gonna be, let's see if I know how to do math. 24.
24. Okay, you maintain. You are able to, you still have advantage on the next one. You're still going significantly fast. However, the Athenian who was falling a bit behind you seems to get a burst of speed and now passes you. But the good news is that the person from Ithaca is now falling behind you. So it's still, the three of you is sort of up where no one else is particularly competitive. Fifth leg, advantage, +7, go ahead.
That is gonna be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20, okay. It is getting a bit harder, so that is actually not enough. You do slow slightly, which means that your next roll will be made at disadvantage. I will remind you, there are only... Oh, wait, sorry, that was a dirty 20? I lied. I was looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
That's actually just rolling steady. So, you not disadvantage, not at advantage, it's just solid, nothing gained, nothing lost. The Ithaca person does fall further behind, but the Athenian is staying strong as well. So, sixth leg, you're at no advantage, +7, unless you want to use your boost. All right, go ahead, advantage +7.
I'll use this. That is going to be, math is really, really hard. 23.
23, enough to run steady. Again, not falling behind, but not making a ton of progress. You are, for the seventh leg, second to last leg, you're going to be at a straight roll, +7.
Oh, thank God I decided to roll not shitty this time. That's going to be a 25.
25, nice. At this point, only enough to run steady. It is getting harder and harder to gain that advantage. Final one right now, you are very close to actually Ithaca has come back and made a bit of a resurgence here, and Athens has fallen a bit behind again. So if you manage to pull this off, you are very close to first place here. Final one whenever you're ready. +7, normal roll.
Math is hard when it's a 7, and I can't explain why.
Mm-hmm.
$24.
24.
Yes, 24.
That is slowing slightly, but I mean, you're still gonna move on to the next round. Oh yeah, the DC for the 8th leg is 26. It's pretty intense.
So I successful in 19.
Right. But the 8th leg, you know, it's just one final push. You come in just behind the runner from Ithaca, but you do come in a very satisfying second place. The person behind you is 4 points behind you. So not only do you come in second, but you very clearly stop the controversy from taking place, and you are very much moving on to the next round. ISS. For Nepiot. Okay. So, that means that the people moving on from this heat are Ithaca, Isis, Athens, and the Hephaestus Islands.
Real quick, Sammy.
Yes.
I got my 250 gold from Nora going on, right? Because I
Yes, 100%.
bet on the... Okay. Picture.
All right. That is day 3. Day 4 is when it starts to get interesting. So, on day 4...
Another thing.
Oh, yeah? Go ahead.
Before, like, we all go, can I grab the party and
Absolutely.
talk to them about what I've learned and where we should go from there?
Yeah, so I'll say that you guys have been sleeping and housed in the Nepeotian quarters. So not hard to find some privacy between the five of you.
Okay, cool. So I'll describe what I know, what I found out, what Ophelia is doing with Neriana, and then what else should we be doing to make sure Neriana wins? Because that is a hard thing to get for her.
Well, Nora's not competing it. Nora's not competing in the pentathlon.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nora can always boost them, right? And then if it's well, then Nora could subtract from people, and then I could save divination for the last day to either boost or subtract from whoever the good competitor against them.
Would Nora?
We ruled out that Nora's not going to use Wheel of Roll.
Yes, so would Nora know that the Owlers were kind of onto that after the Equestrian?
Yeah.
Until then.
I just don't know for the pentathlon if.
I mean, they're probably going to be watching the hardest for the pentathlon because it's the biggest thing. So that would be hard, especially if they're already onto Nora.
Yeah, we
But
can get.
I'm trying to think. So who do we know? So we know that you and Nora can throw it. We know that Lathos can throw the pentathlon.
We could probably get the prince to throw it because remember we know that he's not really that into getting his dad's approval.
Well, I don't think we need to worry about the prince just based off of his performance on the long distance.
If we just get in his head, I'm sure he'll. if he looks like he's having a good day, we can just be like.
I will also let you know, because Bardic Inspiration is not inherently magical, Eric's would be able to give Neriana a Bardic Inspiration before at least her event a little bit. So that is another thing that you have in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So we can use that, and then I think of everybody else. My question is, should I approach the heiress? Heiress, right?
Eris
Yes,
is the correct title.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Should I approach the heiress about knowing her and Ophelia's affair to try and get her to sway her pentathlete?
I don't think we should do that this early.
Sway, like, make her grow the fight.
Sway with an L.
No,
Yeah, I thought
sway.
that too.
No.
The pentathlon.
If you kill her, you don't have to be in this arranged marriage.
So
I wouldn't show her a hand too early especially with Xander.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of at, is like, should I, or should we wait and see some more? I just want to make sure that Neriana wins. I'm trying my hardest here.
Who are
So wait, does it have to be the leader, or does it have to be a monarch that signs?
Well, it depends. For the big cities, it says the sovereign of this place needs to sign.
Yeah, so it would be the child
respected
queen.
man. I was thinking maybe if we can get Xander and Sparta's leaders respectively out of power, if we can get this marriage to not work, that's two signatures there.
I mean, I will let you know, Xander has already signed. Yeah, Xander has signed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no. We only need
A lot.
Sparta, Voltura, Ice Point.
And
Those are the
Athens, but
three
Athens
cities.
is assumed after you get Sparta.
Yeah. So those are the only three cities we need.
Did we talk to Ice Point yet?
We
Mhm.
did.
That's how
Remember
we found
he
about.
hates Lathos?
Yeah.
He has good reason to hate Lathos in his defense.
Remember, his deal was essentially, I'll sign if you and your friends vow to never come to the Frostlands ever again.
But he hasn't
Yeah.
signed yet. Or did he sign already?
So we haven't discussed
Yeah.
what we're going to do with Ice Point. Yes, we can say that they will never come in, but then we also have to deal with.
I'll see.
Delia.
What about?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what about Okay, what if we use Ophelia to get to the prince? Just maybe knock him off his game a little bit.
Oh, I think
And
she already
then
has.
Althea,
Althea has to.
all we have to do is get her away from Ice Point, really, right?
It's like the most like possible to do currently.
I mean,
We'd
yeah.
we'd have to kidnap her.
While
Kidnap
here.
her.
Yeah,
Wow.
we can't go back to Ice Point.
Guarded places.
But we can't kidnap her because that'd be considered an act of aggression.
Yeah.
But
Unless
we
we
know
did it
where she'll
immediately
be
after.
afterward. Yeah,
If we
we'll
did
know
it
where she'll
immediately
be.
after. And I mean, we have Vanix who can portal, right?
Wait,
My question is, so
why don't
this
we
is a
just
Sammy
give her...
question about the logistics of if we kidnap her right after. Does that pact extends until everyone leaves the city, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if it only lasted until the final laurel was placed, then immediately after that there would be like a bunch of stabbings and murder, and it would not work. So yeah, the Olympic truce goes for the extent of the Olympics, meaning that people are also guaranteed safe journey home, or at least safe journey out of the city. What happens outside the city, who's to say?
We could try and set up something to get her as soon as they leave the city. And if we have Vanix who can cast portal, he can get her out and just go to Athens.
That
I mean,
is a great strategy, assuming that Althea would travel via road as opposed to travel via magical means.
Considering she's so far from them and she's a prisoner, I doubt they would have her traveling by road. But they tend to go outside the city to use the portals, right? Or to use the teleport.
Not here.
Mm-hmm.
The portal you guys came into
We
was like
did.
right in the city.
Portal to Ice Point.
Yeah. Because I know you said like some people teleport right to outside the city then come in.
So another
What if we
thing,
were able to slip her a Gatestone? She just
That's
come.
true.
yeah.
That depends on if they like check her and stuff, because obviously they're not gonna want her escaping.
I mean,
Like,
I could
who are we,
probably,
honestly?
Well, the
I
tech
could
master would pick it up, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Any
We
basic
can just like pick it up.
Invisibility.
They said
I mean, one thing I can think of is I can probably sneak in and talk to her, and if we plant the stone somewhere for her to grab, that could be a possibility.
my other thing
running away. That way, there's not really anything to like investigate like another nation for.
so
Yeah.
my is
Who
that
cares
I
if
was
they
gonna say
investigate after the fact?
Well, if they investigate, well, not they investigate, but in the moment, it'll be like,
I mean, I can try and talk to her and see if she'd be willing to do that, and then
I could do another.
if she would like that, then maybe we can have her throw the pentathlon as well, if
I mean,
she agrees to that.
she is a criminal. What if she disappears soon, like during the Olympics?
Oh, no, I don't think that'd be a good idea.
They'd be looking for her, not us.
it's still if they found her, it'd be an act of aggression.
And
You
we still need them.
also you would
we have
also know that if she were to go missing in the middle of the games, the first suspect for Ice Point would be Lathos.
Yeah.
So we have to literally get her out of the city before they know she's gone. That's very unlikely.
Yeah,
What
we're
about,
too
like,
close to not get accused.
So
Sammy, you didn't-
speaking of being too close, the deal is our party cannot go back into Ice Point, and our friends. That does not say we couldn't hire somebody to go steal her.
outside of us, who's strong enough to-
Oh yeah. When he gets back, like that's either a dragon. Like there's a dragon there. That's not.
Our best
Ideal.
bet is here.
Or
I mean,
in route.
There's no
Well,
en route.
if she knew how they were getting back, then we could plan a little better.
I mean, I can try and talk to her. I've already been doing a lot of sneaking. I can do some more.
How many people have you threatened to kill today?
I'm not trying to kill anyone.
You haven't threatened to kill.
You know of murder.
Not kill. No, I have threatened, but not killing. Now, killing
No.
could happen from what I was saying, but it wouldn't be from me.
No, I asked you how many people did you threaten to kill?
Nobody.
I need a.
Oh, because technically it's a different day.
I forget with my psychic link. Do I have to see them? I mean, I
I
guess
believe you
can-
need to see them to make the link.
I'm sure I could just like scan like a little.
Yeah, I mean, you could also do that as well if you don't want me risking getting caught. That is a guaranteed way.
I mean,
if you just see her in the crowds or.
if we're always near the tent, like I'm sure they'll be like. What do they do?
Or you could, or
You're-
whenever she's competing,
Oh,
you could link with her. It lasts an hour, right?
yeah. So
And
after.
some of these events don't last an hour, at least. Am I correct? in
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Then how did Lathos react to seeing her?
He wants her. I mean, he wants to save her. He wants to do whatever. And he's also conflicted because he's also signed up for the pentathlon. So he would be directly competing against her. And, I mean, as much as he wants glory, there's, he'd be more than happy to rig it for her. But now that he needs to rig it for Neriana, he's even more conflicted. And he's definitely in favor of whatever plan to safely get her out that doesn't put huge targets on everyone's backs.
Yeah, I say use psychic link with her, ask how she will be transported back, and then ask maybe about the gate stone.
We want to have somebody besides you do it because you've already been seen talking to her. Because
I mean, it's all in their head. Like they won't be able to tell.
Yeah, but like if you come near her again and like you just like keep coming up to her to do it, it could get suspicious. Kreesa can also telepathically speak to people, and Kreesa doesn't have any connection to her.
I say it's fine at least for the first one. If we have to do it again, so
I mean, yeah, it's gotta be close enough.
yeah, I think it'll be fine.
I literally just passed by. I mean, I'm also competing in some of the events she's competing in, right?
That's true.
And also, I'll remind you that you don't look like how you did when you were in Ice Point, and you're going by a completely different identity. So there's as much known about you as about Kreesa, in that you are a friend of the Society of 100 Hands, and that's sort of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we have a plan for whatever Althea. So I remembered eventually. So circling back to the heiress, are we just gonna wait a little bit longer before?
Yeah, let's do some more. Just gather more information. Everybody, just listen out for it. Especially Ilme, because Ilme will get more than any of us will. I don't think we should show our hand too early with Xander at all.
And then question for Sammy:
Mhm.
Who else do we know is a likely competitor in the pentathlon other than the one water genasi guy?
Yeah, so he's representing Xander, Algasmir, Ilion for Sparta, Ophelia for Athens. Those are the big ones. Neriana for Voltura, Althea and Lathos and Anura. Halcyone from Delphi is representing Delphi. Isidora from Ithaca. Hyponius from Thebes. Those are the big players. Those are the ones that people are really talking about.
Okay, those are the big ones. Cool.
Yeah.
That is what I needed.
How many of the pentathlon are any of the pentathlon events
No. Specifically because they tried that one year and a bunch of them died. So no, they are all individual or race-based.
Dang, so can't no accidents happen.
I mean,
You
if
know, any of
someone
those races, like
during the
cliffside
archery
or
event,
something?
if someone during the archery event just sort of like whips their bow around, it wouldn't, it would be pretty obvious.
Like the bow misfires projectiles.
I rolled a nat 1. My bad.
Yeah. Or if someone drowns during the swim event, who knows?
Ooh,
Oh
that's
no!
a
How,
good idea.
a tentacle
know.
deep in the water? Where'd that come from?
You know, Region, aren't you competing in the pentathlon? Damn.
Okay,
See,
cool. So I'll do some more digging around for other ways of blackmail. So
Figure out who her third boyfriend is. Jesus. Who else is she sneaking around with?
cool. Also, some of these days I'm gonna spend working on my disguise for the
For sure.
Eyes of Gaia,
Yeah.
because I don't think I've finished it yet.
I'll also say, now that you've uncovered this sort of love triangle, now you can appreciate what I found hilarious when you were training with Ophelia and Anura was like flirting and she was like, I'm really not interested. Please stop.
I
I have
apologize. As soon
enough
as she
shit
said it,
going
I
on here.
backed off.
She said powerful people only, please. Money.
She's like, look, I have a high charisma score. I don't know what to tell you.
I just
After
Okay, cool.
meeting's over, can I talk to Region
Sure, you could pull Region aside, absolutely.
on the way to the stadium or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like pulling back the rest of everybody because I don't think I've told everybody about the wish thing yet.
Sure.
So I've been talking to Arcanistine of Adele about a possible way for me to not die. And they mentioned that a wish spell would, be a way to break the contract that my father stuck in without me having to go to the underworld and finding it in Tartarus and breaking it. But a wish spell can only be cast by someone super powerful, so it's going to come at a price. And the person that she mentioned that she can think of who has almost entered into one of these contracts was Theseus. Is there any way you can ask him what they were asking him to give up exactly? And why he said no?
Yeah, I mean, I can give it a shot, but I will say for something like that, I mean, just for this necklace, I mean, the genie I talked to wanted me to give up like a lot of other really serious stuff. So
The archivist says they know someone who is of good heart who can cast a spell, who might not be absolutely terrible about it. So, I mean, I don't have to do the spell. If it's worse than just dying, I'm not going to do it, of course. I don't know. I want to Theseus is a thing.
yeah, no, I can. I can't promise I'll get a response, but I can try and pray to decide, and maybe they can intercept.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have like a direct line to Theseus, but I can try that.
I was just wondering, because, like, I've seen a genie and what the genie tried to get you to give up, which was absolutely insane. So I'm just trying to gather other information about it, because the archivist won't tell me anything else right now.
Mhm.
So.
Well. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, whenever I can't remember if there's temples or anything here, but whenever I had a second, yeah, I'd look for one. Yeah, is there a way that if an orc is there with me, they can like be a part of the message, or I guess that connection if
Unfortunately,
it succeeds?
No.
Okay.
Not. This is a blood connection that is the source of this, so no, unfortunately not. But yes, over the next few days,
Okay.
You can certainly find time to do that. But as that is happening, day 4 of the games is commencing, which means the final equestrian quarterfinals, the final long-distance trials, and the beginning, and actually the entirety of the trials for the sprint event, meaning that a few of our players, Krisa, Ilme, Iasis, Tekalis, will soon be in the mix. So, first of all, the equestrian quarterfinal. This is the one that Eric's could have been in, but is not. So, this one is not particularly exciting. Isadora of Ithaca does continue to perform very well. The Isles of Ilium actually comes in first with 66 seconds, with Isadora coming in second, and Midas coming in third, meaning that they are the 3 that will move on to the semifinals, which leads us to the last quarterfinal, Anura's quarterfinal.
I wanna.
Did you want me to?
Before
Oh.
Anora goes, can Eric's like pull them aside and just be like, I know you can do this and all this, and give her bardic inspiration. Give them bardic inspiration.
Absolutely, yeah. What's his bardic inspiration die?
D8.
Go ahead. So
I'll gladly take that.
yeah, so Anura, you can take a d8 for one of your ability checks in this event.
Should I roll to see if I would even be able to get anything through to Poseidon/these two?
We can do that next time. If you need to head out, we can do that next time. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say that it happens over the next few days, so no worries. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Anura, the chances of you doing what you did last time are extremely low, but it is still technically possible. It is very possible. So, let me just find my right paper here.
I have a question about the bardic inspiration. Do I have to use it before I roll?
No, you can roll, and then you can decide whether or not to use it. You just have to use it before it's determined whether or not you've succeeded.
Okay.
Okay, so we are back in with you. Let me get it all set up here. All right, so you can go last again if you would like to.
I will do that.
So, ahead of you, Spearpoint has made a very impressive 30-second run, which again would be a world record if not for you earlier. Midas has also been very impressive with a 90-second run, which is fairly good, or would be in any other year. Arcadia has a 114-second run, currently in third place. Voltura already eliminated in fourth place with 138 seconds, and the Isles of Ilium eliminated in fifth place with 144 second time. So what you need to move on to the next round is you have to beat 114. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What are you starting with?
As I'll ever be. Dressage.
Dressage. You got it whenever you are ready. Performance.
Dressage gets harder as it goes, right?
Yes, they all do.
Okay. I was trying to decide when bardic inspiration would be the best. That's all I was trying to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first one's gonna be a 16.
16 is a success. Moving on to the second stage, prancing.
15?
15 is still a success. Third stage is bucking.
That's a 14.
14.
I don't know what's happening.
You'll what?
I don't know what's happening. I rolled a 16, a 15, and a 14.
Well, that is a failure. Do you want to try again?
What's the penalty if I don't?
18 seconds.
Yeah, I'll try again.
Go ahead.
A 16?
16 is a success. And the final performance, dancing.
I'm gonna add Bardic Inspiration to it.
Go ahead.
I have to roll that digitally because I lost my D8. That's gonna make that a... Why is that so hard to add in my head? 18, good lord.
18 just fails. Do you want to try again?
So I failed it twice, right?
No, you failed this one once.
I'll try again.
Go ahead.
No, I won't. Wait a minute. No, I won't, because I have to roll a 19 or a 20.
Okay, so you're gonna move on?
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. Are you going to the weight pull?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll remind you with the weight pull, it's only one thing you need to succeed on, but you cannot pass it. You will stay here until you succeed.
Yeah, it's intelligence or dex.
That's right. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Mark off my inspiration so I don't forget. That's going to be 22.
22. Immediately passed it. You're fine. Okay. That brings us to your best part, the fence jump. First defense. Animal handling.
Oh my god. I keep doing this. It keeps rolling under the kickstand of my laptop. Okay. Why am I 22? Why can't I add 9?
22. Very impressive. Moving on to the second fence.
That is going to be a 25.
25. Very impressive again. Third fence.
Oh, 20, so it's 29.
Nat 20 is taking off a significant amount of time for you, and you get advantage on this final check. Go
In
ahead.
fact, that's the first time this axe has ever rolled a d20 in the 3 years I've had it.
Nice.
You said I get advantage? Thank
That's
fuck,
right.
because then it rolled a 2. Keep doing this. And you said it was with advantage, so that's going to be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right, that is a success. That ends your run. Now let me just add these up.
I say that this dice did it because I'm using the dice that my best friend made me to hold it currently.
All right, let's see here. How do you think you did, Enora?
I mean, I think I passed. That dressage was about to kill me, though.
Well, you did not come in first.
Okay, I didn't think I did.
But you did come in second with 54 second time. Very impressive, if not for the fact that it is, like, so many times worse than your score last time.
It's the same as my score in practice in Athens.
Oh, there you go. Yes, so you do move on to the semi-finals. Congratulations. You will be competing against Isadora of Ithaca, amongst others. Very exciting. So the important people who are moving on to the semifinals, besides you and Isadora, Althea is in the other semifinal by herself. So potentially all three of you could make it to the final. All right, that brings us to the long distance. The first trial today is actually another Althea event. She is extremely busy. She is really trying to earn her freedom. And she does very well. She comes in second in this race, so she is moving on. Very impressive. She was only beat by the runner from Xander, who came in first with a very impressive run. Delphi and Sparta also made the cut after particularly poor showings from Giantsbane and Corinth, which means that we have reached the final trial of the long-distance event, which is Krisa's trial. So, Krisa. Let's find this race. Amazing.
What?
So,
When does Lathos?
But
Lathos
this
already
already
went.
on his trial.
yeah.
brain is saying
Yeah,
strangeness.
he's already in the quarterfinals. So,
I was like,
what is Krisa's base speed?
Just 30 feet.
30, okay. But she does have action surge, correct?
Yes, and then she can reroll a failure if she needs to.
Right, she has Indomitable. So on one of these, she can use action surge for an additional +1.
Okay.
All right. And I'll remind you that you have 2 uses of boost. And let the game begin. So, just so that I know, what's her con save?
2.
Con save's 2?
Yeah, she has a +2 con save.
Is it one of her saves?
It says, unless it doesn't say it's in her Olympic stat block.
Then it's not. Wow, why is she doing this event?
You told me to put her in it. That's why she's doing this. I'm sorry, no. It's a +7.
Okay,
You
that's...
didn't put that on her Olympic stat block.
I didn't? Are you sure?
I'm very sure.
Sorry about that. All right, +7. That sounds much more reasonable.
This makes so... I was looking at it and I was like, why is she doing this again?
Yeah. All right, cool. +7. You have 2 uses
Oh,
of
it's
boost.
right there. No, it's right there. It's at the top. I can't read. It's not where I expected it.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I can't read. We know I can't read. Why are you surprised?
All right, so very first con save, are you going to use boost or no?
Yes.
All right, advantage +7. Go ahead. Unless you want to make it
And
+8.
Okay, so it's aim for the action choice. That's right.
Yeah. And we're back. Sorry about that. So, back to the middle of the race that we were in. Krisa is on the 7th of 8 legs. This next Constitution saving throw will be at disadvantage. However, you do still have 1 use of boost, so if you want to just make it a straight roll.
How did a dirty 20 get me to disadvantage?
It gets very hard at the end of the race.
Holy shit!
The DC
Okay.
the DC for that one, for the 6th one, was a DC 22.
Fucking hell. Okay, we're gonna use that good old boost.
All right,
and hope
so
for
just a
this.
straight roll +7.
That is going to be a 20... How do you do math? 2.
22. Okay, that is still not quite enough to maintain. You will be at disadvantage again on the very last leg, but at least you're not so far down that you're going to be... If you get too low, then you'll be disadvantage -5. But instead, you're just disadvantage.
Someone check my math, just to make sure I did math right.
Sure.
14 plus 7 is not 22, is it?
It is 21.
you won.
Thank you.
Either way, it's the same bracket, so nothing really changes.
I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, for sure. The DC for that one was 24. That brings us to the 8th and final leg of this challenge. Disadvantage +7 whenever you're ready.
Okay, so it was a 16 and a 13. So a dirty 20 again.
Dirty 20.
Oh, I do have another Indomitable.
You can roll 1 more. You still need to take the lower.
Woo! That's a 24.
24! Okay.
Thank you for
that
that.
is still-
I forgot that existed.
That is still under the DC, but better than the alternative, because if you kept that previous roll, it would be a -2 instead of it's just a -1, which means that your total score, 2, 4, 6, 8, -3, is a +5, which means that Krisa does still come in first place. Behind her is Spear Point with a +3, 2 points behind her. 2 points behind Spear Point is the Isles of Ilium, and 1 point behind her is Voltura, and 1 point behind Voltura is the Isles of Ilium. So Krisa moves on to the next round. Nice job,
For
Krisa.
saying Krisa, because I forgot Indomitable existed after the first time I used it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good clutch move.
Yeah, you don't really think about it because it's such a random thing with the 2 times for long rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're not doing anything else besides just an event between long rests.
Yeah.
That ends the long distance for the day, which means the only thing left for today is the sprint trials. And because there are 8 of them, we will save that for next session. So, next session, Ilmay will have her sprint, as well as Teclis and Iasis. All of the sprints will happen next week, and we'll probably get to the very first Laurel ceremony in just a few days. So, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I hope you guys had fun. I had a blast. All of the Olympic events, by the way, are going to be released online after the Olympics are done, so you can play at home with probably some slight adjustments based on balancing and that kind of stuff. But the entire Homebrew Olympics will be up for you guys to play at your leisure. I'm very excited for that. But until then, we will see you next week for more Olympics. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.